Hey everybody, David here. Good to be with you. I'm here with you every Monday night at 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. My next guest, her name is Lisa. As you guys know, I deal with, or God has me dealing with SRA's satanic ritual abuse, program multiples. If you don't know what that is, I want you to go back and watch some of the videos I've done with Russ Dizdar, where Satan takes a baby or takes a young person and tortures them to where they have multiple personalities. It's called a program multiple. It's real. Russ Dizdar said he believes that there's tens of millions of program multiples in the United States, and that's just one generation. We're not going back in generations. What is a program multiple?
Sure. We've all heard now on television multiple personality disorder. They now call it dissociative identity disorder, DID. So that's well known among psychologists, the DSM-3, the diagnostic manuals. That's really well known. People hear more about multiple personalities. So if you think in terms of your personality, like you and I being one person, I think in terms of, well, I eat chicken or well, I eat hamburger. But it's all just me.
Okay.
When you have a multiple through trauma, it's trauma-based, they split human personality into sub-personalities, and they create them.
She saw my program, Lisa, and she wrote me this email. I'm going to read a little bit of it, not all of it. It was a long email, but it touched my heart. I reached out to her, and she's kind enough to come on and share her experience. She says, David, I felt all alone in Tennessee. God has been transforming me, and I am a serious, devout follower of Jesus. I am a walking miracle. Satan has tried to destroy me ever since I left the palm of God's hand to travel into my mother's womb. I was not wanted by my parents after my birth because I was a girl. I grew up being abused in every way, but by the grace of God, I met Jesus. And at 8 years of age, and that made survival possible. Both my parents and their families abused me. I was excited to watch your video on program multiples last night because I am a completely restored program multiple by the grace of God and the Holy Spirit in my original self. I did not come to the knowledge of my program multiple until 2009, when I knew something was seriously wrong with me. I cried out to God for help, and he led me to people that could help me. My father and mother, extended family, were Freemasons. I'm now 49. I've discovered this revelation knowledge of myself when I was 39. It took 8 years to integrate all my parts that have been split. I've been living the past 2 years as a whole self, fully integrated. I'm a disabled veteran. I've served 5 years in the Navy. My name is Lisa. Lisa, you with me?
Yes, David.
How are you?
I'm good. It's good to be here.
It's good to have you with us. Lisa, my prayer is that we reach people tonight, that are in the same situation as you, that have been in the same situation as you, that we are an avenue of encouragement and restoration.
Yes, I'm in total agreement with that.
So tell me, let's go back to your childhood. How did all this start? Can you take me back to how old were you? Obviously, we're not going to get graphic detail, but try to tell me as much as you're comfortable with.
Well, the first 12 years of my life, I really don't have any memories, and I never really thought about my life until I had a moment when I thought I really need to get some help, because I don't understand why I have so much rage in me that can come out at times. So when I started working with other true born-again believers who knew what they were doing, the Lord revealed certain images to me and started giving me certain memories. And so, but the earliest memory is of me as a baby. So it started when I was in the crib.
What's some of the things they start to do to this baby to program it?
Sure. In a ritualistic, setting, they will cause trauma, pain. The pain will be mental, physical, emotional. Dissociation, we all understand that we daydream a little bit. Dissociation pushes the mind, the personality, pushes the mind further and further and further until they want it to snap. They want through pain, mental, emotional, physical, they want the personality to split. And they also want demonic presence to come in, and then this new part of that personality, they want to begin to, well, you're going to be a priestess, or you're going to be a runner, or you're going to be a fighter, or you're going to be a shooter. Whatever they want the first one, and then a second, and then a third, and then a fifth, and then a 50th. There could be dozens of sub-personalities.
Okay, so you were sexually abused when you were in the crib?
Yes.
Okay, and who did it?
It was my father.
The truth is, we should be looking at every single satanic ritually abused person will normally have a mother and or father that are not only part of the coven group, but most likely one of them will be multiple themselves.
Yeah.
And it's handed down, the whole thing, you don't catch it, but it's handed down through the trauma, through the spiritual dark side's design to create another one.
You went on, what was the next age? How old were you when you had your next encounter?
I don't have another memory until I was about 5 years of age, and I never understood why I remembered this, but this was always with me. I knew that I didn't like it, but I was a little girl, and I was the middle of 5 kids, and we had to wear hand-me-down clothes, and I was coming out to try to get dressed for the day, and my mom was really upset with me, and she wanted me to wear this shirt, and I didn't want to wear the shirt, and she was just angry and arguing with me, and she did ask me, why don't you want to wear the shirt? It was a V-neck shirt, and you could see my skin was exposed, and
Right.
I just remembered saying, I don't want anybody to see me, and she didn't care. She's like, well, you're going to wear the shirt, and that's all there is to it. So,
Okay, and you said that you grew up in domestic violence. What kind of violence was there, and who was it from?
it was mainly from my father. He was a very angry man,
Okay.
and they called it, we'd get whippings, but he would beat us. We'd get beat with the belt, and then, we'd be bruised. And my mother, I'm sure my mother was afraid of him. My dad's he was a big man. He was 6'3", played football in high school, junior college, and college until he dropped out. And he was just angry, and he would take his anger out on us. You would, just be a kid, and if it was something he didn't like or agree with, he'd just start beating you. And so...
You mentioned program multiple, and in order to be a program multiple, and we talked about this, that people torture and inflict violence and hurt upon people. How and when were you turned or started becoming, or they started conditioning you as a program multiple?
Well, I believe as a baby, because when you're a baby and you're defenseless, you can't stop what's happening to you.
Right.
And so I started splitting as a baby, and then certain parts would take the abuse so the rest of me could survive.
Programmed multiples, like we said, you have personalities that are split and programmed. There might be demons on these, but not over here. So if you command demons to come up and out, you need to get them out of there. But then you have programmed and the damage to the human personality.
What Lisa's saying is hard to swallow. And I know there's some of you out there, and I've said it too. I don't say it anymore. How in the world, first of all, can you remember what happened when you were a baby? Second of all, how could anyone do that to a baby? But listen to me. There are people out there, they're Satanists, and that's their job and they take babies, they take children. Why? Because a baby, it's the easiest, because that's when their personalities are not developed. That's when they can program them. And I've done extensive study on this, and that's what they like to get a hold of is little babies, small children. So it's real, okay? So a lot of times people have these flashbacks, and I believe it's the Holy Spirit, Lisa, that's given you this flashback or this understanding of this. Now, how many personalities would you say that you had at one time, roughly?
At one time, I roughly had about 17, but I believe that there were some younger parts that couldn't talk.
Okay.
Some of them, couldn't talk. Some of them, but they would talk to each other, and then that's when they would talk to me. I remembered, I thought it was crazy, because when I first started getting help, I heard these teenagers arguing in my mind about how they wanted to get emancipated from the parents, and I'm like, I'm 39. I'm like, I don't have to get emancipated from my parents. So when it first started, when the Lord first gave me the understanding of all this, it was strange. But then when I got help with somebody who knew what I was dealing with, it all started to make sense. And then I was kind of relieved, because it helped me understand my whole life.
Wow.
Because I was just different.
3 primary categories of knowing whether you're a program multiple: voices in the head, conversation.
They hear voices
differently than we would hear. Secondly, they have missing time. They don't know where they were at certain times.
Okay.
Thirdly, they may have had a whole childhood of blocked memories. Those are at least 3 categories that will help them know they're not crazy. They're not crazy. You're not insane. Something happened to you.
They could be a program multiple. Right. Something happened when they were a baby.
Besides the personalities, there were different levels, you mentioned 3 categories. Help
3
me out.
presenters.
Okay, presenters. Tell everyone what a presenter is.
A presenter is someone who presents the self to the world. So there's basically 3. There's a denial presenter, and that's someone who lives in denial, and everything is great, everything's okay, nothing's wrong, because they live in denial. They deny all the abuse.
Wow.
And all the neglect. So you wouldn't think anything was wrong with them.
Right. And I've known people like that. And the presenter oversees part of these 17 personalities at any given time. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. What's another presenter, the characteristic of another presenter?
The other one would be sad. I called her Sad Eyes, because she was just sad. Yeah. There was she held all the pain.
Wow.
And that's all she did, was hold the pain.
Yeah. And what about the third one? Do you remember what the third presenter?
Well, the third presenter was confusion, because you have to have a buffer between denial and sadness so that they don't touch each other.
Wow.
So that's confusion. So if you ever run into somebody and they're just like in a trance or dazed, and you try to talk to them and they're just like, I don't know.
How would you like to be part of an exciting new faith-based television series? Hey everybody, I'm David Heavener, and I'm making The Last Evangelist. I call it CSI meets the Book of Revelation. We're in the end times and people need to hear the truth. I'm asking you to partner with me. Go to lastevangelist.com, sign the newsletter. If God touches your heart, become a partner.